Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where we are on the test server to check out Supreme Elhain. We look a little bit different. I had to take my green screen down for a little secret project, and I haven't put it back up yet. I said, you know what, let's just prioritize getting this video out as quickly as possible because, well, the Summon Champion Chase event, excuse me, has already started for Supreme Elhain. The fusion is on. So I wanted to get this video out to you as quickly as I could. So we're just diving in. Let me know what you think of the non-green screen. We'll have it back, but it's weird. My room is more echoey without the green screen absorbing the sound. It's just a blank wall echoing behind me. Sounds weird. Hopefully you don't hear that. But yeah, let's take a look at Supreme Elhain then. What is going on with her? Very quickly, the basics of her kit. Her A1 is a double hitter that transfers a random debuff from this champion to the target. I have found one place where this is actually kind of useful, but it's a pretty hard-hitting A1. Her A2 then is her AoE attack. 3-turn cooldown, AoE. The damage increases by 10% for every debuff on the target, so potentially it could hit pretty hard. I'll show you some actual stats for that. And then it resets the cooldown of her A3 if it kills an enemy, which is pretty cool. Her A3 does have a 4-turn cooldown, single target attack, ignores ally protection, strengthen, and shield, and gives an extra turn if it kills an enemy. So this hits very hard, ignores a lot of the most powerful defensive buffs. The key ones that it will still be affected by, obviously Stone Skin in Arena is the big one. An increased defense as well can make it hard to kill things, and then you miss your extra turn. But pretty powerful A3. And then a passive, she's immune to decreased attack, which is nice, and does 20% more damage against targets whose attack is lower than this champion's attack. Obviously enough from looking at her kit, you should be building her with tons of attack. So this bonus 20% damage should basically always be on. And then we do have a 30% attack in all battles aura, which I actually think is very useful and makes her kit a lot stronger. That's very useful for things like campaign and Minotaur, which we're going to look at, dungeons everywhere, faction wars. So very flexible aura. I like it a lot. So quickly, what do I think of her? I'm going to show you some stats. Let's bring it up. So her multipliers, and I wanted to compare her, okay, to a few different champions. So for example, Genbo. A lot of people would consider Genbo to be the best Void Affinity epic nuker. Genbo, very, very strong. How does she compare to Genbo? Well, she has higher base attack than Genbo and 3% more crit damage, so she hit a little bit harder. But Genbo, we look at his multipliers. He has a 4 in his A1, a 4 in his A2. Now he gets 20% damage from books. So both of his moves have a 4.8 damage multiplier. Nice thing about him, he does give himself bonus crit rate and crit damage, which will up his damage a bit. But that's roughly how Genbo's going to hit, and he's Void. So no weak hits, same as Elhain. I wanted to compare that to Rhonda as well. So with Rhonda, okay, who a lot of you will have. I feel like if you're in a position to actually get Supreme Elhain, you've got Rhonda. It would be very strange if you missed Rhonda, but we're suddenly far enough in the game to get Supreme Elhain. Maybe you've come back after a break and you missed Rhonda, which would be unlucky, but a lot of people have Rhonda. Rhonda has slightly more attack. How do they compare? And she's got the two big single target attacks, really big single target attack here. Rhonda has a 4-turn cooldown, 4-turn, big AoE. How will she compare? And I'll show you this in game too. But Rhonda, with her hits, is going to have 4.3 or 5.8 on her A1 single target, 6.8 multiplier on her single target A2 with bonus 30% ignore defense, which does add a ton of damage, and then 5.9 on her AoE. What about Supreme Elhain? Well, her A1, actually, it's really hard when we add the passive and books in, 5.8. It's the same as the quad hit of Rhonda. Her AoE is going to be 5.8 plus 10% per debuff. So it should be, again, very similar to Rhonda. Slightly weaker because she's got 40, less base attack. And Rhonda has got a tiny bit more of a multiplier, but very similar to Rhonda. Once we start adding in debuffs, it's going to hit a lot harder though. And then her single target, her crack shot, 8.6. I actually think that the ignore defense from Rhonda is going to make Rhonda's move much stronger, especially when paired with Helm Smasher or Savage. Rhonda will do a lot more single target with that, but Elhain is no slouch with an 8.6 multiplier there when we add everything together on her kit. And also, interestingly, here we go. I figured out her AoE with debuffs. So it starts as a 5.8 no debuffs, 6.4 with 1, 7 with 2, 7.5, 8.12, 8.7. If you're curious with Trunda, Trunda has a baseline 7.8 multiplier. So at 4 debuffs, Supreme Elhain is going to be similar to Trunda. Actually, I think it's going to be more like 5 debuffs. She'll hit similar to Trunda if you want a good comparison, because Trunda's got higher base attack. But there you go. Some sort of in-depth breakdown. Let me actually show this to you in-game, shall we? Let me show it to you in-game. So here's how we're going to compare. We're going to jump into hard mode of Dragon. And yeah, let's actually put Rhonda in first so we can see Rhonda. Where is Rhonda? I think I've got an Ascension on Rhonda. That's okay. So let's dive in here. Rhonda might trigger her ally attack, but I mean, to be fair, that's part of Rhonda's kit, that passive. So let's see. Knock that in. All right, let's speed boost. 1 time speed. We can see the hit from Rhonda. It is a double hit. Boom, boom. So we didn't miss. Let's redo that. We missed 1 decreased defense. Let's redo it. But for context there, Rhonda, 588,000 damage. Pretty good. Let's go again. Here we go. Okay, we landed all the No, we missed a weak hit. Oh my goodness. Lydia with the 3% resists coming in. Absolutely cursing us here in this video. I bet Rhonda's going to ally attack now and throw it off a little bit. No, we're good. We've all the debuffs. Fantastic. Let's go. And here comes Rhonda. So you can see the big smack. Bam. Wabam. And she is walking away. Obviously, Helm Smasher procs. We could have some variants. About 623,000 damage. Rhonda also has the same aura as Supreme Elhain. So let's see him back to back here. See it in action. And I think Supreme Elhain will default into her crack shot. So we do need to be careful about that. We missed 2 weakens. Oh my goodness. Ay. This is why people use Ghostborn for speed farming, because he never misses decreased defense. I don't have a Ghostborn, unfortunately. Oh my god, we missed a decreased defense. Cursed. When you do live recording, you're just cursed. All right, let's go. Here we go. We've landed everything. Sigh of relief. We come in with a smack from Elhain, and the total damage from that should be very similar, would be our expectation. 638. So there we go, with the 2 debuffs out there. Supreme Elhain versus Rhonda. And I've got them in very similar gear, guys. Very similar. They're going to do very similar damage. So Rhonda had 6k attack, 257% crit damage. Supreme Elhain, 6.1 and 265. So Supreme Elhain has a little bit more damage on her. Long story short, though, they're going to have very similar damage output. So what makes Supreme Elhain special? What makes her important? Why might you run her? One thing I want to throw in here as well. So I did testing against Ethos, actually, as well as a Void Nuker. And I was running them as well in campaign to see how they would compare in campaign for Nightmare campaign. So just to give you an idea here, let's take a look. Ethos is doing that in about 20 seconds. He's got some variance here. But I basically took the gear directly off Ethos and I put it on Supreme Elhain. So we'll see how they go. About 16 seconds there, Nightmare campaign. So let's start off with Elhain, shall we? Let's dive into some Nightmare campaign. I tried her on Brutal 12-3. She does it in about 13 seconds, which isn't super good. We come into Nightmare. Here we go. Let's go. How does Supreme Elhain do as a Nightmare campaign farmer? So she actually starts off with her single target hit. And you can see that one-shot someone. She's getting the extra turns. And wave 1, she is absolutely demolished. She's going to come into wave 2, absolutely demolish them as well. In with the AoE, 13 seconds. 13 seconds on that run. Let's go again. Here she goes. Crack shot, destroys them. Here we go. And with slightly better stats, I think she could do this even faster. She's gone in with the AoE, smacks them. Crack shot goes in again. So she's not going to get the extra turn from the crack shot there. Her A1, you can see easily one-shots, 15 seconds. I keep calling her Rhonda. Supreme Elhain is an absolutely fantastic campaign farmer. Absolutely fantastic. And she's bringing in that aura as well to up her power. But she just rips, absolutely rips through these waves. Really no problem. Absolutely destroying it. Compared to my Ethos, she's actually maybe even slightly faster on average. I think they're very comparable, which is super, super impressive. I think with more gear, Ethos can get down to like a consistent 9 or 10 second farm. You can't, I'm blocking it slightly, but you see with Ethos, he actually does it faster for me on live because he gets extra 500 attack, from his blessing, but I removed that for the purposes of these tests. But yeah, as a Nightmare campaign farmer, Supreme Elhain is an absolute beast with the extra turns, with resetting the cooldown. She absolutely destroys it. I want to show you Minotaur as well. Minotaur's Labyrinth. Check this out, guys. And this is stuff you're going to farm all of the time. So she comes into Minotaur. Oh, let's put it on full auto. Here we go. So she opens again with the crack shot, which is kind of a waste. That slows her down. She gets to wave 2. She's got crack shot again with extra turn. And then she's going to come in. Bam, bam. Nukes them down. We're on to the boss. Crack shot one-shots one of them. Takes out the ad as well. She's in with the AoE. And this is where that A1 becomes good, because look at that. The boss, the Minotaur, he actually places the Hex on you, which makes him hit harder. Well, Supreme Elhain, she just throws it right back. She flings it right back in his face. There he goes again, flings it back, and she's farmed it really fast. But this is something that also sets her apart. Like, I use Ethos for this. Ethos kills the waves faster because he just goes like AoE, AoE. He doesn't waste time doing crack shots and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not like Supreme Elhain's going through this slowly, not at all. But she's actually super good, and because she's throwing back the Hex, she's actually in much less danger of dying to this boss than others might be. I actually think she's fantastic for this, and those big single target hits that she has just rips them apart. Look at that. Just incredible. Incredible stuff. She's actually a monster. She's actually a monster when it comes to this. I guess another thing to show you, if you want to speed farm potion dungeons, which again is something you might want to do. So this is a sort of team that I would use. We're kind of pretty late game farming team. But just to give you ideas, so what we're going to have, we have 2 reset champions here. You could just use Renegade. 2 Renegades would work just fine. Brogni for increased attack. You could use anyone for increased attack. And Lydia. We do need that decreased defense and weaken, especially with Elhain. But Elhain comes in. She's got the attack aura to up her damage. You can see she destroys the waves. We reset that first wave. We come to the boss. We reset on the boss, right? We put the debuffs on again. She nukes, smashes the ads. We start smacking the boss now. And she's going to come in then with her A3 and again do really big damage here. Here she goes, crack shot, boom, 247,000 damage with the gear I have on her. And the boss is dead in 38 seconds, which for me, believe it or not, is actually a record. And you can see Supreme Elhain, 1.6 million damage. The great thing about this team, we obviously have a Kymar in here, but well, Arbiter or Brogni or another 3-turn cooldown increase attack replacement works just fine. But Elhain, 3-turn cooldown AoE. Lydia, 3-turn cooldown decrease defense and weaken, right? Renegade fully resets them. So you could put in another Renegade, you could put in an Arbiter, and then with a relatively accessible team, you've got a very quick farm for the dungeons. And because Elhain is Void Affinity, she's going to work for every single dungeon. I'm pretty sure. Let's actually try out Enforce Keep, something Rhonda could not do. Will Elhain handle it? I think she actually haven't tested this. I think she will. So yeah, like this stuff is, you know, this isn't like going into Nightmare Hydra or something insanely difficult. But this is stuff that, you know, Minotaur, campaign, potion dungeons, this is stuff that a lot of people realistically spend an awful lot of time farming. And I actually think she's insanely good for this. Like, people may not rate Ethos super high, but I mean, as I revealed in when, oh, we missed a decreased defense. That sucks a little bit. But still, we take him down. Awesome. But still, nonetheless, you know, Ethos, even though he's not necessarily rated as the best Void Legendary in the game at all, I use him so much. I actually use him so much. And I think Supreme Elhain basically does exactly what Ethos does for this farming style content. She's a monster. 44 seconds there. So not as fast as my fastest team, whatever that was. I think using like a Turvold or something. But pretty impressive stuff. How have I built her? Let me show that. Let me show you how I built Supreme Elhain. So I put her in the gear that I normally have on Ethos. We have her in Savage. I'm really looking for a lot of attack percent, crit rate, crit damage, and actually a good bit of speed. So the reason we've got that good bit of speed is to make that farming stuff more effective. And I think around 200 speed as well is going to make it very easy to slot into speed teams in Arena and stuff like that too. And just be usable in dungeons, in Doom Tower. Oftentimes in like more late game Arena, you really want your nukers to be in attack percentage boots and to be pretty slow. They don't really need speed, you know, these days. But I think this more general build is very good gear. Don't get me wrong, very good gear. But I think this is kind of effective for her. So to show you the actual piece of gear, like we've got some HP there, but you know, attack, speed, crit rate, speed, crit rate, crit damage there, crit rate, some HP percent there, crit damage gloves with speed and lots of attack percent on that. Lots of attack percent on this chest. It's a really nice one with crit rate, crit damage. Speed boots with some crit rate, crit damage and attack percent. And then really no surprise, we've got an attack percent ring, we've got crit damage neck, and we've got an attack percent banner. That's what we're looking for. And yeah, like I said, I think the ideal build is as much attack as you can, around about 200 speed, 100% crit rate, and then as much crit damage as you can. Resistance, accuracy obviously don't matter. Even defense and health. For her, I don't think really matter because she rips through these waves so effectively that I think you're going to be just fine. For her masteries, this is kind of interesting. So let me turn me off here. I think this is something like I would go. There's obviously flexibility, but obviously crit rate, crit damage. Now, this is where you've got a choice. So I definitely wanted to get Ruthless Ambush for that bursty damage for those waves. I wanted to get Single Out as well, bring it down. Now, the reason I've gone a bit funky here is I wanted to get Cycle of Violence, chance to decrease the cooldown of a random skill if you do a big chunk of max HP. I think that's very good because with her skills, like Crack Shot, gives her an extra turn, and this hits really hard. So just giving her some of that cooldown on her AoE, I think could be really powerful, especially if the AoE triggers cooldown reduction on itself, just to give her that possibility to sort of just bounce between the two of these moves. I think it's kind of worth it, so that's why I gave her Cycle of Violence, Kill Streak, and then I did put her into Helm Smasher. I grabbed her Blood Shield to help with the campaign farming, but I actually don't think it matters in Minotaur farming. I think you could totally grab Stoke to Fury for more damage. You could get Methodical for a bit more consistent A1, though she doesn't use it that often. You could maybe even go for Deterrence for maybe some extra arena potential. It's kind of up to you. Fairly standard defense tree. The other option would be to ditch Shield Breaker and to grab Heart of Glory. So you go Deadly Precision, Keen Strike, Heart of Glory for that 5% more damage, max HP. You skip out Single Out and you get Whirlwind of Death instead to get more speed if you're a bit low on speed for campaign farming. Ruthless Ambush. Then you would come down this way, grab Wrath of the Slain so you can get Bring It Down and then finish off somewhat the same. War Master would probably be okay if you're very dungeon focused, and Flawless Execution could be a good option if you want to be consistent with campaign farming, but I think Helm Smasher is the better option overall and is going to be better for Arena. Let's jump into Arena. I haven't done any testing here, but I've thrown together a team. So let's jump in. And I've got an end game sort of team. Because this is the thing about the test server. You're up against kind of ridiculous opponents. And I'm being cheeky here. I know. As you guys know, I pulled a Yumiko recently, and I've not been able to build her. Because it's just, you know, with an end game clan, I got to save those Ascensions, and I got to save those books and rolling up the gear for clan versus clan tournaments because, you know, we go hard for clan versus clan. So I've not been able to build her on live, but I built her here. So basically the team setup we've got going in, Arbiter, of course, the increase attack and the speed aura. Then we've got Yumiko is going to put enemy skills on cooldown. Romantu, hopefully strip off their buffs and block their active skills. Then we'll see what Supreme Elhain will do. We'll leave her on default stuff. Will it be able to work? I don't know. So let's try it out. Let us see together. I will be honest, I'm quite worried she's just going to die to like A1s from this Leorius and that sort of stuff. So let's see. So we boost up. We attempt to strip their stuff. We strip some of them. We put their things on cooldown. And boom, she goes in and actually absolutely rips through Leorius there. We turned off his passive with Romantu. And she, with her A3, just ignored all of the protection that Necret puts out. Necret, ally protection, strengthen, shields. I actually wasn't paying attention. I don't know which buffs were still on at Leorius, but I think the ally protection there was probably there at least. I'm pretty sure it's unremovable, right? And she hit through that. So yeah, that's actually kind of cool. So she certainly hits hard. She's gone in with the A1. The A1 doing about 47k damage. Not bad. She's obviously immune to decreased attack, which isn't super relevant. Wow, lots of resistance on this dude right here. Crack shot, 232,000, and takes him out. I'm blocking. There you go. pretty impressive from her. Let's see this. Oh, man. I think we might just die to this team. Let's try it, though. Let's try these teams. Why the heck not? Because I think this is kind of almost the best case scenario team for Supreme Elhain. I would say the one thing I would change with this team, I would be switching out Romantu for like a Necret, but I don't have a Necret. So she's gone in, oof, and absolutely destroyed by Roto. She gets revived, but she's in trouble. So look at that. Went in, and with the Rotos, she hit him, but triggered his extra turn. So she is going in with her A3 as her priority. I think she's going to die. Oh, no, he didn't target her. Let's see what she's going to do. We're going full auto, and she's just died to Necret the Great. Just as A1 killed her. She's a very squishy champion. That's why I think having a Necret of your own might help. So we lost that one. That's okay. And Polymorph has taken us out. Let's redo that one. Now, let's just move on. Let's try up against Testy Elhaides here. I think this is going to be pretty nasty. He's got the +4 Cupidus. Let's see. Necret once more. So let's see. Let's actually do this one on manual. So we'll strip off their stuff. We blocked his passives. Let's put their stuff on cooldown as well. And let's see. So here, again, this would be normally nasty. That's a big shield and ally protection. But she can come in on this Cupidus, ignore that stuff, 100k damage, and he is dead. And then we can come in with her AoE, which hits pretty hard as well. We actually one-shot Mortu right there. It's kind of funny. I do think that she is... Clearly, her A3 is in a big way supposed to counter Necret, and we've actually seen that pretty well. Oh, man, look at that. An extra turn straight into it. Do a pretty hard-hitting A1 as well against a tanky Necret. But honestly, I feel like this champion's pretty impressive. I know we're running her with good champions, but I mean, we've got good champs here, but it's not like they don't have good champs either. She's putting up a pretty good fight. Is there any other thing we want to sort of showcase here? Nothing super jumping out. Another Necret. Oh, YSC's got a cool team. Let's try this. Wow, he's got the Supreme Gaelic. I mean, let's hit this one. I want to just see her AoE up front. So let's see this. I think we would probably win if we just went and did our thing. But let's go in. Let's do the same sort of thing. So we're going to strip. You could use Madame Ceres for this. Oh, okay. Well, this team is very squishy, but we go in with the AoE. So like, I mean, right there, she didn't kill the Wither with her AoE. So it's certainly not the strongest AoE in the game. She didn't kill Wither. Wither lived. And that sort of stuff can get very dangerous when you put in champions like Pythion. You put in champions like Duchess. She doesn't have the biggest AoE. Can we find a Duchess team to attack? Right here. Murder Inc. Oh, God. With a +4 Rotos. I think she's pretty bad against Rotos, guys. That's going to be my honest opinion here. Rotos seems like a problem. Let's try strip off some of their passives. Luckily, she is immune against that decreased attack immunity is kind of nice. We put their stuff on cooldown. Let's go in with the AoE to see what would happen. I think this is a bad idea. Seeing as we've locked out the Ultimate Death Knight passive, the smart thing to do would probably to try one-shot Duchess. Of course, reaction gear could be a big problem, but let's see the AoE. How will she do against this sort of team? Remember, we don't have decreased defense out there. Let's see. So, I mean, she hit reasonably well, but Duchess easily survives. And I think this becomes like a pretty big problem pretty fast. She actually survived that, which was quite lucky, I would say. What do we do here? I think we come in and let's try debuff the Duchess, try get her killed off. Just put Hex onto him. We actually try to counterattack. Let's go in and let's push him back a little bit. Oh, I forgot. I changed my Arbiter's. No, I changed Arbiter's Mastery. She doesn't have the turn meter pushback. Uh-oh. That's a bit scary. All right. Let's come in and let's land in some more fears, I guess. Well, he's already feared. Let's put some debuffs on him. He's going to counterattack. Scary stuff. Right, let's revive. We're doing this on manual. And then I'll give you my thoughts on this champion. Let's push his turn meter back. No, thank you, Mr. Rotos. Okay, and he missed his turn. We'll take it. Strip them off. All right, Elhain. Let's see what you can do. Excellent. Duchess. Goodbye. 200. Wow. A big hit, guys. And then she gets the extra turn and she smacks. Right. I think this is a really interesting one. Let me give you my thoughts on this champion overall, because people have been extremely negative. I did see Elhain did a video on her earlier, and I thought he had a really good showcase as well. And Elhain was actually quite positive about her. Let me give you my thoughts on Supreme Elhain. So, honestly, when I went into this, and I've said this in my videos leading up to it so far, I felt that Supreme Elhain was likely to be a pretty middle of the road Void Legendary. Um, I actually have a higher opinion of her now, having tested her out. What I think this champion is good for, I've been blown away by how good this champion is for farming easy content. But that's an important thing. Nightmare Campaign, Minotaur's Labyrinth, Potion Keeps, normal Doom Tower waves. She'll even help you a bit, I think, with hard Doom Tower waves as well. And even a lot of classic arena stuff. I actually think that this champion is extremely good. She does a ton of damage. She has very short cooldowns. And with the cooldown resets, with the extra turn stuff, she's actually a beast for that sort of content. So I think for a lot of players, this is actually a fantastic champion. Like I said, I think that Ethos is a pretty good comparison. Miles and miles and miles, my most used champion in the history. Like, I've used Ethos probably 3 times as much as any other champion in this game, because that's the sort of content that matters. And she's so similar to him when it comes to that. I've actually been extremely impressed. Now, when we come into Arena, okay, for late game Arena, what does she not have? And it's very obvious. What she lacks, what she really lacks, well, number one, she's squishy, but a lot of them are. But what she really lacks when you compare her to the best of the best, ignore defense passives, right? Things that let you ignore defense. So Jorgid, he comes in, he's got the extra turn, he's got a better move than her. That's better, right? He has AoE, that's better, right? Jorgid is a way, way better Supreme Elhain, certainly for the purposes of Arena. Way better, and probably for the other stuff. Other top Arena champions right now. Again, Baron. Where's Baron? I'm blind. I've got him already, of course. Baron ignoring 50% defense. Okay. Who's another really good Arena? It's a very common theme. A lot of them, Hefrak, ignoring enemy defense. A lot of the big nukers for Arena are ignoring defense. Or they've got powerful passives to keep them alive. Supreme Elhain is much simpler than that. Much more straightforward. I do think this A3 is actually really strong. It's weak to reaction and it's weak to Stone Skin. Of course it is. I feel like she does struggle with Rotos as well. But this is a big hitting A3. It hits really well. Her AoE is actually pretty respectable for Arena. She's a decent Arena nuker. She's not bad by any means. And she's Void, which is good. So there you go. That's kind of what I think about her. I actually think she's really solid. And certainly one to consider, considering we're going to have live Arena coming later in the year. I mean, I'm going to be grabbing this champion. She might be useful for live Arena. I mean, for me, I've got Baron, I've got Kandrafon, I've got tons of extremely good Arena nukers. So is she going to be that useful there? I've already got an Ethos. How useful is she going to be for me? Like, will I actually use her? I don't know if I will. But maybe. I'm kind of considering it after this. And she looks cool and she's new and she's flashy. I don't know, man. Like, maybe I will use her. But yeah, she's a solid champion. I think we sort of showed you everything you need to see there. She does hit very hard. She is very squishy. She's not like a late game god tier Void Legendary on the level of Jorgid. I can't show you Jorgid right now, but you can watch my Jorgid showcase. Like, that's the obvious comparison, and he is better. But you kind of expect that, right? The premier, pull your Void, or like Taris or Marichka, they're on another level as well, but they're totally OP. But Supreme Elhain, I think, is a very respectable Void Legendary. Let me know what you think, having watched this. I think the biggest issue is that, honestly, it seems like the fragment fusion stuff is really difficult. They seem like the events are really hard. Tons of you can see the comments on the guide I did for doing this fusion. Everyone hates it, and rightly so. Like, they've made it too difficult. I'm really not a fan of that. But I think the champion, she's not trash. She is absolutely not trash. I think she's actually a really, really solid champ. Genuinely. So there you go. Supreme Elhain actually ended up being better than I expected. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.